Welcome to this session. Actually, I'm originally from Algeria, but I studied here in Turkey under the supervision of Professor at Istanbul Technical University. And the topic was about producing some graphene nanodiamond-based composites for getting bio-inspired Nacre-like structure.
He's good.
So first we will talk why we choose to talk about Nacre, why we want to mimic Nacre, what's special about Nacre, and then why did we choose graphene and or graphene oxide and detonation nanodiamonds, abbreviated here as DND. Then we will talk how we produce graphene oxide in a different way, because we needed to improve its properties. Then we will talk about incorporating detonation nanodiamonds, then about producing the ternary artificial Nacre with adding the polyamide as our polymer. And we will finish by a conclusion and talking about some challenges. So, why Nacre? Maybe you are all famous about this, right? I think you all saw this seashell. The main component of this seashell is called Nacre. And when you try to look closer under the microscope, you will see such layered structure like this. Here is a better picture. These are some aragonite plates stick together with a certain polymer to give them also such a good toughness. Then when you try to go closer, you will see some nanograins on the surface of these plates, which are called Nanoasperities. Why these asperities are important? Because they can help us getting certain mechanisms when getting the sliding of this place in between during a certain tensile test, for example. Generally, there are many works trying to do this Nacre-like structure, and some of them also use graphene or graphene derivatives. Why graphene? Because you may knew that it has very high mechanical properties, like the Young's modulus is around 1 terapascal, very high for a monolayer, and it has also very high ballistic properties. For example, in small, let's say, microballistic tests, it performed twice as well as Kevlar, so it's very interesting here. But in that test, they used multilayer graphene, because you need to get, in the end, a bulk material, and they got some cracks, so the energy dissipation was to improve, and then they advised to do some composite structure. Then, in our case, we prefer to go with a graphene derivative, which is graphene oxide. Why? First, because when you put it together with the polymer in between, it can be self-assembled in a multi-layer arrangement, somehow similar to the Nacre. So that's what we want, right? This is the Nacre system, and this is a graphene oxide with polymer structure. Then graphene oxide monolayer has also a very good mechanical properties, around 200 gigapascal. What is also important for us is that it has in its surface certain oxygen groups, which can help us to disperse it in water, for example, and to functionalize it with other molecules. If we want to bind it with other particles or other maybe 2D materials. Its cost is also important. You know, graphene is also very expensive, so the cost effectiveness is important, and it can be produced larger than graphene monolayers. So this is important. However, the production of the synthesis way is unfortunately not good. For example, when you try to introduce that oxygen group to separate the layers in between, you will introduce some defects, of course, and you may also create some vacancies. And as Professor Ilhan explained yesterday, you have the cracking problem. here it looks like an eye, but here it is the thickest, for example. Then you get with thinner and thinner, and the thinnest gets very dispersed in very small size. So this is not very useful. Why the quality also reduce? You also reduce the number of peptide covalent bonds. So of course you reduce the high mechanical properties in this way, and you get some wrinkles. So all of this affect the graphene oxide, and unfortunately there's no only one graphene oxide. It may also depend on the oxygen groups, like the CO ratio, on the sheet size, on many parameters. There are many works trying to do this graphene oxide Nacre-like composites, either with some polymers or with adding some interface interactions using some ions or hydrogen bound in extra. And then in the recent works, they try to do other synergistic effects using maybe 2D materials, 1D materials with also other polymers or similar ionic interactions. You can find this graphic in one video. I can also share it later. Whatever the problem is that they all focus on the brick and mortar structure, like the multi-layer with the polymer in between. They don't address the nanoasperities issue, like the nanograins on the surface. And this is what we wanted to address. We wanted to get this nanograins on the surface, as I said, to improve the sliding mechanism. And also these nanograins, according to some articles, they have also a rotation mechanism which has to dissipate the energy. So it is very beneficial. So we choose nanodiamonds to do this nanoasperities like materials. Why DNDs? Because they are very small. We are working with graphene, right? So graphene oxide or graphene, which is only 1 nanometer thick. So we don't need very big nanoparticles. Here we prefer small ones. Also carbon materials similar to graphene with high mechanical properties and with some functional groups on its surface which help us to link them to the graphitic layer. We also addressed in the beginning the problem of graphene oxide quality because, as Professor Ilham explained yesterday, when you do the oxidation, the chemical oxidation, the oxidant group molecules, the oxidant ions enters from the edges and cause some stress to the surfaces as well when doing the oxidation, which cause some cracks or create glass-like problem. So what is better is to first do a certain expansion. Here we did it with piranha, with sulfuric acid and hydrogen peroxide. You can see that the volume got doubled 4 times. Here you facilitate the introduction of your oxidant molecules to the graphitic layers, in between the graphitic layers. Generally, there are many studies trying to do this, but with heat treatment at very high temperature in a short period. But the problem, you will need a very high temperature, very good sophisticated furnace. We don't need this, just piranha solution. And then it is environmentally friendly. We don't use some toxic chemicals. We don't also need to wash it afterward because hydrogen peroxide will turn out to water. So it's only one-step method, one-step process. Then we do the oxidation. We mix the oxidants with the sulfuric acid and phosphoric acid together. Add it slowly when mechanically stirring the mixture and doing it at low temperature. Then we can range the temperature after introducing the whole oxidant solution. You can find more details in this article. Here you can see the SEM images of graphite, the raw material in the beginning. It is very thick with a very high number of layers compacted together. after the expansion, you will get a worm-like or accordion-like structure. You know that instrument of music. So here you will get larger surface area. Then after you do the oxidation, you get the layers separated completely, and you get sheets or layers, monolayers. Here we verified with TEM, some were monolayer or bi-D layers, and with AFM as well. So the thickness here was around 1 nanometer. Then we wanted to incorporate the detonation nanodiamonds, sorry. For the detonation nanodiamonds, they usually have an amorphous or graphite layer on their surface and also some different oxygen groups. So what we do first, we do an air oxidation at a moderate temperature to get a homogeneous external surface rich with carboxylic groups. Then we try to deagglomerate them. We use a salt as it helps to deagglomerate them like ball milling. Think about ball milling. You add this salt at high concentration, more than the solubility concentration, and then it helps you separate them together with this sonication. Then here you can get around 5 to 20 nanometers. Then you disperse them after washing, of course, and we try two methods for the functionalization of graphene oxide. In the first one, we tried first to functionalize the graphene oxide with a molecule having a amine group in its end. It can interact with the graphene oxide in different ways, either by epoxy ring-opening reaction, or by pi-pi interaction, or through ionic interaction. Then, once you have this amine group, you can do amidation with these carboxylic groups using EDC and HS. The second method we tried is a direct covalent bonding with the hydroxyl groups, which is esterification within this catalyst. And this is what we are supposed to get. So, sorry, the computer stopped.
Finance.
Now the computer didn't want to work.
Doesn't work?
Yeah. Yes, it freezes sometimes.
I don't know what I should do.
No, just wait for
okay.
wait for the 3 minutes to end, and then it will.
This is the solution.
The way of verifying if it works or not is using polycrystalline diamonds. They have a big size, and it's very hard to incorporate them, but if the reaction happens successfully, you will not get them during the washing as sedimented. But if it doesn't work, you will get white sediment in the end of washing at high centrifugation speed. So after optimizing the conditions, we did it with EMDs, and unfortunately you can see that there were some clusters. It may happen because generally these detonation nanodiamonds tend to agglomerate, and also maybe because this, like the graphite oxide or graphene oxide there, have some crystalline areas and some amorphous or defective areas. When you look at it under the TEM, I don't know if it is clear, but your eyes will be blind after a while. Then we added the polymer. I will go quickly because of the time for the results. You can verify by FTIR, for example, if you got that functional groups introduced and you got the polymer introduced also with XPS. So, for example, you will get this nitrogen group here and groups percentage. Then for the mechanical properties, first, when we added the amine functionalized molecule, it dropped a bit, which is a bit normal because it didn't have the layers to arrange together. then when introducing the nanoparticles, it increased a bit. But when doing esterification directly, we can see that there was a good increment. And then when introducing the polymer, it got much better, the Nacre-like structure with Nanoasperities together. Then we verified by SEM if this ternary system is compact and the thickness of decrease. And then quickly about the conclusion. As we said, our aim was to mimic the Nacre. We used the batteries I talked about, and then there was an improvement. However, as usual, you will have some challenges. For example, we couldn't advance the mechanical properties reported in many recent studies. The problem also we have is that when trying to disperse the nanoparticles, you need to use ultrasonication or just mechanical steering or some dispersion methods, which can break the graphite oxide or graphene oxide layers at the same time. So there is a compromise in between, and then the problem of choosing the polymer, because you need to get some either hydrogen bonding or some interactions. Also, the reproducibility issues should be addressed. So I finished. I just wanted to give a short word to students. I don't know if I have time for that. Can I?
Please do it.
Thank you. For example, I'm sure that everyone will get some challenges, especially students in master's or PhD. For example, when I was working about getting these monolayers of graphene oxide to characterize their size, because I wanted to get larger size, I need to get certain image like this. But the problem is, once I prepared my samples for the first day, I took them to the next campus, another campus, went to the dining hall to eat, then another one collided with me, and the samples fall down in the floor and got dusted. There was the dust on their surface. So I went quickly to the other campus, running out, etc. Then prepared the samples. My hands were shaking. You know, when you are running out of time, and I didn't have time to dry them correctly. So I get such very funny pictures. And they were running like me. You can see these guys. Running, their legs are there, and maybe some animals with dust, with ice. So this is usual. Don't get upset. You will get many challenges, but it will be funny memories after you pass that problem. And just remember, even if you don't get publications or any results, that's fine. Your reward will not be for the result; it will be for your effort. Not here, maybe in the life after this life, but remember, your reward is not for the result, but for the effort. Thank you for your attention.